So thank you, Gary, for the introduction. As you said, I'm a product manager at Jahia, and I define my role as basically trying to find problem to solve and then give it to the developers that actually do the real work. I'm usually working on Marketing Factory. That's why I was working with Valerie, that was just presenting. But over the last couple of months, I work on this problem. The fact that many brands struggle to efficiently localize their digital presence. Behind these big words, you will see that there are very simple cases, and it's actually linked to your daily life as a digital marketer, or as a developer, or as a CDO or something. So if we take this fictional company, for example, Digital, they might have headquartered in the US. They might, with a team of 5, 20, 25 people on the digital marketing team. They will have maybe 2 or 3 guys working in Canada, maybe no one in Australia, someone in UK, in Belgium. And the question is, how do these people work together? And how can they actually make their digital presence and local and relevant? So there is this common principle that is like to think globally and to act locally, but this talking with customers, it doesn't really capture the difficulties, the complexity that they have in their daily life to manage the digital presence. What they need to do is much more complex. It's think and act globally and locally. So it means that having a lot of interactions between the global marketing teams and the local marketing teams and ensure that they stay relevant. So on one hand, we've got this global marketing team that has its own objectives and constraints. They need to be able to keep control in case anything goes wrong. They need to be able to ensure the brand consistency. Where is Julie? They need to be able to open new markets very easily, to deal with specific demands, and to share the content that they produce. They are not just thinking guys, they are actually acting a lot on a daily basis. On the other hand, we've got the local marketing teams. They have different objectives, different constraints. Most of them would work with limited resources. You can see Amélie from Sodexo over there. They've got some small countries, so they don't have like a team of digital people. So the stakes can be different. There will be some other market specificities. So for example, Sodexo in the US, they have a big team, so their requirements are different. And there is everything that has to do with translation and localization around the language. And of course, this guy wants to be able to reuse all the work that the corporation did. So we're going to try to map these business challenges with actually what many of you know in content management capabilities. And it's not that hard. So on the left, it's the objective for the global marketing team. In the middle, it's content management system capability. And on the right, it's the objective for the local team. So if we start with design and templates, depending on which side you're sitting on, you might call them differently. There is a lot relying on that to ensure brand consistency. As you launch Jahia US, you would be able to reuse the templates that you built for Jahia.com. So it's another example there. It also ensures that the local team, they have limited resources, so their objective is not to redo the design every week, so they can reuse what the brand actually already do. In terms of permission, it's both a way to keep control for the global marketing team and a way to be autonomous for the local team. So nothing special there, I just need to be here. The site factory capability, it has to do with opening new markets. So when you're buying, for example, if there is an acquisition, we've got some customers, Virbac, Antalis, they grow through acquisition, so they need to open new market and to shift the digital presence when they do that. So thanks to the site factory capabilities, it's working pretty well. And on the other side, there is a local marketing team. They still have their market specificities, and on their website, they will be able to adapt what the global team has made to ensure that everything is working. Now we have the multi-language capabilities. Many of you, I think, already know about that. The ability to translate to your own language pretty easily. And with JIDX, well, you've got some of it already, most of it. The fine-grained permission, the site factories, the ability to have prepackaged site to get kicked off more easily. So there are a lot of things that are already existing, and you still have the opportunity, if you need to have one website with 50 languages. That's what HomeAway, for example, is doing. Or if I see Christophe at the European Parliament, they have quite many languages on the same website as well there. So for those who follow, there was still one missing. That's the ability to share content from the global team and to reuse that as a local marketer. And that's where our local site manager comes in. So that's a module that you can install as any module on the latest 7.2 that Valerie is using. And it's really here to help the local teams reuse the content that has been created by the global one. Ensure that the content is up to date and is the translation flow as well. Of course, I want to do that without losing the ability to create new pages and new content. Otherwise, it would be too easy, right? So let's have a look at the product. So, yes. All right. So some of you might recognize our digital demo websites. And here I'm logged in as Jacob, that is doing digital marketing in Canada. So we are on the Canadian website. It looks quite closely from the digital.com, that is the corporate one. And I might zoom in a bit to help you here. And there is a new section that the global marketing team has created recently. It's the About section, something that you would want to reuse from one country to another. So what I would do now is go to the Canadian website, to the site setting, and to the local site manager, and create a new localization. Or maybe, yeah, let's start with Australia. It's a simpler use case. There is just one language. We'll get back to Canada later. So still, we want to do the About page. So I create a new localization. Here there will be a couple of things that you will need to configure. Of course, if you have English, for example, as a global, if your global marketing team is providing you with English, if you're working in Australia, it's fine. So you will definitely want to reuse that language. And you will want to drag and drop the About page with its subpages under your home. Hit next and choose, well, how do you want to deal with that? If you want the changes made by the global marketing team, done automatically, or if you want to pull and review these changes to know what's on your website. So that's the second option we're going to take. And my section is synchronized. My pages will appear on my Australian website, sorry, right there. So it's nothing special. So far, it looks a lot like a copy-paste, which is also an efficient way to share content. But we're going to go further. So now I'm going to go as a global marketer and edit some content there. So on digital.com, in the About page, then, for example, if there has been a change in the team, let's say that Alan is now Rachel. And we're going to change the picture. I will hit save. And of course, this is just a simple example, but we are able to deal with, like, I think Sodexo has 100 websites on their platform. Many of our customers are more than 50. I heard about sites that have 40,000 content on the same website, but I don't want to show you that right now. So here on my Australian website, in the leadership page, I will see that on the top right, my statue has changed. It's just orange. It means that something happened that I should review. So I'll open just that. And I will see that, well, there has been a change that I need to deal with. So I will just synchronize and accept the changes. If I want to review them, I can open the global page and review what happens there to ensure that I know what's happening and I don't do anything wrong. And I will hit the synchronize changes. It refresh, and now Rachel is up to date on my Australian website. Also, if I want to, like I said, I can still add a new content on that page, even so it's coming from the global marketing team. And I will add, of course, my managing director of Australia. Maybe a picture would be nice. And girls power. So everything is working well. That was the first use case from the global, from global to Australia. Now there is another case that is a bit more complex. It's when we deal with Canada because, well, there is another language, French, and we can have a look what it looks like. So if I go to my Canadian website, then I have another section missing. It's the newsroom. So I will synchronize just that. As we said, so now it's clearly written. The language that will be synchronized, I will still inherit the English language from the global marketing team, but I will have to translate French. Fair enough. I drag and drop the newsroom. I'll still go for manual and review changes. And now I can see that my pages are synchronized. However, when I go to the review changes page, and especially here, well, I have a lot of stuff to do because there is a lot of content that I need to translate. So it's made to make it easier for the local marketing team to actually see what they need to do. That's really the goal of the local site manager. I'm not going to go in detail, but all the query components that you have on your website are also localized. The links inside the section are already localized as well, so you stay on the same website. You're not redirected to another one. And it's all working pretty fine, so a big thanks to Thomas, Kevin, and Daniela. Before I review with you some of the benefits of the local site manager. Well, as we saw very briefly, it enables granular localization of just what you need. You don't need to localize a whole website, which is pretty good. You can support different level of autonomy between your countries. Well, if you've got a team in the US that want to redo everything, well, they can. If you have one webmaster that need to reuse as much as you can also. We allow for a local user to detach content if they're not fine with what the global team has made. They can edit their own and make their updates. And it also is the translation flow, as we saw. It's very easy to see what I need to do as a local contributor. We, of course, leverage the multi-site and translation feature of DX, and it works with Form Factory, Marketing Factory, the external data provider, and anything that is in DX, basically. So some of you might wonder what's next. So we have a couple of stories that we might work on. But I think the most important is to keep improving the UX. Well, as Michael said, as we repeated these 2 days, it's very important for us to make things simpler for the end users. So we'll keep working on that and keep things simple, and the rest will be driven by customer feedback on the field. So thank you.